Okay, so we're going to talk about Charlie's training and how we can stay consistent at home. So we want to keep treats on us for the first few days. I recommend maybe a week or two. That way you can reward consistently when Charlie makes the right choices and listens to your commands. We want to build that reward history with her listening to you at home. That way it's not just about negative, it's also about the positive. So we want to build that reward history of her getting paid for doing the right thing and doing the training as she should. We are also going to stay consistent with our commands by having the remote collar on Charlie every day, so then if she doesn't listen to our command, we can correct her in an appropriate way to show her that, hey, that choice wasn't correct, but here's your correction. Do it right the next time and you won't have to feel the collar. So we're going to go over all the collar details and go from there. So we have her collar here. We have the bungee quick snap. Snaps together like that, has a little bungee, that way it has a little bit of give. If you notice on her collar there's a little red dot, that is the on-off button for her collar. It's a magnet. The key to that magnet is on her remote, so if you turn it to the side you'll see a matching red dot. We're going to touch the two together to turn the collar on. So you're going to see a green light. It just takes a quick tap. The collar is on, charged, and ready to go. I'm going to turn the collar off real quick just to show you how to do that. To turn the collar off, same way, tap, red light, it's off. So we're going to turn the collar on. We're going to tap the two magnets together. Quick tap, green light, good to go. Set that off to the side for now. To turn on the remote, we have the on-off button here in the back. We are going to push and hold it until the screen lights up, and it's going to be blue. And now the collar is on and the remote is on, so we're ready to go. So I'm going to pretend that my hand here is Charlie. If you saw the screen, hopefully you did, it had the number 20 on it. We are going to use the black S button, and that's going to give a level 20 stimulation. So no, correction, and that's all it is. That was a little bit uncomfortable, but it's not really painful in any way. It's just a little uncomfortable TENS unit pressure, which will contract the muscle. So we're going to use the black S button to communicate with Charlie when she hasn't made the right choice. So for example, let's say she tries to herd someone or anything like that. We would tell her no, give a correction, and then tell her to do something more appropriate so that she can get rewarded instead of corrected. So we're going to go over her commands. So heel means walk next to me. She walks on the left hand side and it needs to be on a very loose leash. She needs to heel by your heel. So that means walking next to you, not pulling, not sniffing, not doing anything like that. If she does anything to break the heel, which is walking next to you, you would say no, give the correction, and then repeat your command heel. Remind her heel is what we're doing right now. So for sit, ask her to sit. If she does, great. If not, no, correction, sit, not drop the remote. And so on and so forth with all of our commands. We have down, which is lay down and stay, place, which is stay on an elevated boundary, and then come when called and leave it. So come when called, if you call her to come to you and she does, great, no remote needed. If not, you give her a correction because you don't want her to just get away with not listening to your commands. So that is how we're going to stay consistent. Now I'm going to go over all the other features of the remote. So we have the red S button. This is going to boost Charlie. Have not needed this yet, but you have it in case you need it. It's for emergencies only. That's why it's red. So when I push the red button, you're going to see that it goes from level 20 to 40. That is going to boost Charlie. So let's talk about examples as to when you might use this. Let's say you're working with her and you've had her home for a couple months now and you're doing off-leash training and she decides to take off after something. You call her back to you, she doesn't listen, you try correcting at 20, her adrenaline's too high, she can fade that out, she can ignore that, you're going to bump it up to 40 to really snap her out of whatever she's into and get her to come back to you. Now, if you're going to have her off leash, I highly recommend practicing all of this training in a fenced-in area first. Definitely with a leash on in the beginning. That way she builds up that reward history and making sure that she can do the training with you in different environments, and you don't just, you know, trust her off leash anywhere. You want to practice before we get to that point. Next we have the T button, which is vibrate. So you'll see the collar vibrate. That, you're not going to use that a whole lot, especially now in the beginning. Maybe in the future it can be like a warning button, but I do not use this very often because it's kind of like counting to 3 with kids. If there's really no consequence after it, then she starts to not respect the commands as much. So I would stick with the S button, the black S button. We have the dial here. So if I try and turn the collar up or down, it is locked. We have it locked at 20. 20 is a good level for Charlie right now. This level could go up or down when you take her home. To unlock it, you're going to push and hold until the 1D starts flashing. So the 1D is flashing, and now we can turn it down to 0, or we can turn it up as needed. Let's say you take Charlie home and level 20 seems to be a bit much for her. She is squeaking a lot, or you know, reacting very heavily to the collar, which it should be just a little head tilt because it is a muscle contractor. So her neck muscles do just contract a little bit. But if she is overreacting to level 20, then I would turn it down to 15. If level 20 is not enough for her, you have to push it over and over and over and over again, then I would bump it up to 25 or 30 until you can go back to 20. So you would just adjust the dial how you need to. Then we're gonna lock it in place so we don't accidentally turn it up or down. So have it at the level you want, push down and hold it till 1D is solid, then you're good to go. The level is not gonna change unless you unlock it. Another cool feature that this remote has is the back on off button. If you just tap it, instead of pushing and holding it to turn the remote off, if you tap it, she has a little flashlight on her collar so you can see her better at night. Tap it again, shuts the collar off. We have this little M/C button. You can ignore that. It stands for momentary and continuous. She's set to momentary. That's what she needs to be at. Continuous is used for the beginning training at a lower level. She is at avoidance conditioning, which just means she does the commands to avoid feeling the collar. She listens to get paid in treats and praise and petting, but also to avoid corrections, just like, you know, we drive the speed limit so we don't get pulled over and get a ticket, right? We don't want to get that correction. And that's why she's going to drive the speed limit in training, so she doesn't have to feel this collar. The goal is to possibly fade this collar out, but it depends on how consistent we are and Charlie's individual personality. Set this off to the side, so I'm going to turn this off. Tap. I'm going to push and hold the back button here, the on-off button, push and hold until the screen is dark. This is her slip collar. I recommend walking her with this collar because she can't slip out, not that she would try, but also it allows us to kind of communicate with her if we happen to not have the remote in hand. So like when we were first teaching her training, we taught her with body language with leash pressure. So if I asked her to sit and she didn't, I would just tug the leash up until she sat, and then boom, she sits. So that was her correction if she didn't listen the first time. Up is sit. Up is also heel. So if you're walking and she tries to walk in front of you, no, little tug up, and that means back up, back into the heel. If you want her to lay down, it's down, or if she gets off a place, it's tug back to the place bed. And then of course, if you have her roaming around, you need to have her on a leash at first, and you can tug her back if she doesn't listen to you when you call her to come to you. Loosen this tab, slide it off. So we have her charger. To go back to the collar, you can charge them both at the same time. They are waterproof, but you want to make sure you close this little tab to make sure that water doesn't get inside the electronics. right there. She can go swimming with this on. She can wear it 10 to 12 hours a day, take it off at night. If she does happen to get wet or go swimming with this collar on, just make sure you take it off after she's done. Dry that area thoroughly before putting the collar back on. If you leave it on like overnight and she's wet especially, moisture can build in and mix with the oils of her skin and create a bacteria, which could lead to a hot spot or a little sore right there, and we don't want that. When you put the collar on, I recommend putting it on the light facing out, and then every week or so rotate it. So 1 week it's on this side, 1 week it's on this side. That'll just prevent her neck getting tender in those areas if you just rotate it once in a while. But when you go to rotate it, you don't have to do it the same day, but unbuckle it, place the collar, then click it. Don't drag it across her skin. These are some tools. She does not have long hair, so you don't have to worry about the extenders or anything like this. This little black tool tightens the prongs that are on her remote collar, so if you notice they're getting loose, you can just tighten them down. They shouldn't get loose, but just in case. This is her extra strap if anything were to happen to the bungee. This is what it comes with. It's just like a little belt buckle style. And then we have her instructions under here that will go over all the buttons in greater detail. So the important thing is with training is to have fun, stay consistent, make sure you work with her a little bit every day. And now we're going to show you Charlie's commands. Down. Good. Down. Down. Good. Down. Good. Down. Down. Free. Good job. Good girl. Good girl. Leave it. Good. Okay. Good job. Good job. Leave it. Good. Good girl. Okay. Okay. Good job. Good job. Leave it. Good. Okay. Good girl. Good job. Good job. Place. Place. Good girl. Place. Good girl. Place. 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 Good place. Good place. Good girl. Place. Place. No. Place. Place.